screen, share, there, slideshow from here. All right. So that took a little while, but at least we do actually have this going.
I like the presentation style.
Okay, problem solved. It's all muted. All right. No, why is there still sound? Like, you heard that, right?
Yeah, like echo.
1 second. There, silence. And all right, we should probably be good now. That's turned off every sound. Everything else is muted, so we should be fine. All right, so welcome to the little presentation we'll be doing on UI design. So this should hopefully be a shorter one, though we definitely lost a bit of time from all the technology shenanigans. Yep. So why should we care about UI? Well, it's the easiest way to communicate information to the player. Since, well, you could use some sort of like dynamic system, like I know some games have done like main menus where it's actually like objects you can drag around and stuff. They explore things to actually go to levels, and that certainly works, but it takes a lot of time to implement. Whereas you can just put some text on the screen, put some buttons, and problem solved. And the other way is also it's just an easier way to implement controls, since I guess it's good to have hotkeys for a lot of controls, but also if you have too many, that gets way too much for a player to handle at one time, especially easy to a game. So you always want some sort of like button backup, at least for most simple stuff. Maybe not like the actual movement delay, but if you have like dialogue systems, for example, you should have hotkeys in addition to all the buttons for second dialogue as well. And it's also good for like touch screens and mobile if you ever want to put that in your game in the future. All right. And then like some of the examples of stuff you might think of for UI, it's like menus, stat bars, like for health, hunger. Then you have like dialogue trees, especially control systems that could be like your buttons, maybe like drag for like setting like the amount of enemies you might want to level, for example. And leaderboards, that one's not that hard to do, but it takes a little bit more time to get used to making. Game over screens, which especially if you want to try and do that for like games, in this game jam for like platform thing, for example, you'll need to learn your own goal game over screen. So those are some simple things in the UI for. And then, so for the rest of this presentation, it'll just be me switching over to Godot. I'll go back to the little 2D platformer we had, and we showing how you can make like the basic main menus, show some stats for your player. Just like, it won't be looking the best, but it'll just be so you know the basic background goes into it. So I'll go ahead and get started there. Oh. I'm gonna just do it here. I want my mouse again. All right. So yeah, so I'm back in that platformer, and I have not changed anything since last time, so I'm just going to immediately go straight into this. So I'm going to go to my player, and to start with doing any sort of like UI you can see from like the player's perspective. You'll go bad Epic. Epic is not allowed to keep doing that stuff. All right. So on your camera, you'll go and do canvas. Then you have a canvas layer. So the canvas layer is where you can add UI onto like for showing on your camera. So if I go to that, I can start going to the control options, and at least in Godot, all of your UI stuff is under control. So that will include like your containers. That can be like, say, if you want to have like a list of things, it's definitely to program their positions and individually just put them inside like a VBox, for example, and that makes everything like it's like vertically compared to each other. So this makes a lot of stuff pretty easy. But we don't need to be dealing with containers right now. All we want to do is just add a simple little thing for your health. So for that, I'm just going to go add a label, and I'm going to call this my health label. I'm going to go over to inspector, health, and I believe I gave it, so you have initially 10, so I'll do 10 out of 10. So that's all I'm going to do for that guy right now, because then I'm going to go to my player script, and anytime I lose any health, which should be, yeah, just in hurt,
So instead of just printing the health, I'm going to get that guy. So health label dot text health. I'm going to turn that health value I already have into a string. 10.
All right. So what this little bit of programming will do is it'll call that little health label that we just made. It'll change its text whenever you use damage to just show like where your health is right now at a 10. And you have to make sure to always do that string, like I guess functionally return whatever like number you have, so to string that so that it doesn't give you an error.
So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'll quickly just go play that level again to show how that should work. So there you go. Oh, yeah. So you should see it up there. I'll take a little bit of damage.
So you should see that it updates every time you do that.
So it's just the very basic way you can do like a simple little health bar, at least from when you're testing things and when you're doing like a basic version. When you get more down into it, you might want to do like a status bar, in which case you'd still probably have your label above it, but then down below you'd have like a bar that you change the size of every time you lose damage. And there's another quick thing. I'm going to start making the little main menu.
Actually, can you explain what the dollar sign notation means?
Oh,
At the beginning?
yeah. All the dollar sign things is basically for like calling like a child of whatever you're on right now. So
I don't. It's about to probably change. Actually, okay, it'll stay on the same screen.
In this case, this is running on the player. So
Mhm.
a child of that would be the camera is a child of that, so it's
Yep.
a dollar sign. And then a child of the camera is a canvas area, and a child of that is a help. Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So another way to do that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can show that properly. I'll just finish naming this guy real quick. So I'll go back to my player, and I believe if you do, what was it? Copy node path. Yeah. So
If you want to get that stuff real quick instead of like trying to type it in or like do like a tab when you start typing it, you can just go over to whatever it is, right click, do copy node path, and now also do that same path you just put behind the dollar sign.
It also have editor references. Like, for instance, I think one of export, like the exporting variables and something like that, so also have exporting variables to reference
Oh,
and conflict with.
I think I understand. It's like, so, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
It's like, sorry, I'm always thinking confused.
That's all good.
In Unity, you would have like a public variable or an exporting variable, and you drag the references there. So you use the string to find the conflict.
I want to say, I think there might be a way. I've just never really done it that way in Godot.
but I'm trying to think what's the way to do that.
No, I was just wondering. This is pretty small.
Yeah. I mean, I think there might be a way to do something similar. I've just never really messed around with it that way. So if you do on another tool as well, if you have something you're going to keep messing with a bunch and you don't want to have to keep doing it, you got to save that as like a variable somewhere to access. Or alternatively, you see access as unique name. You could do that on whatever it is you want to give that to. And that should make it. So every time you want to do it, you just do this and then that guy. So that cuts down a lot of what you might have to do instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go back to the main menu. Here are the 2D, so I see what I'm doing. And I'm going to add a VBox. So I'll set up a few things, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. All right, so
Without editing these guys, I'll explain real quick what I have them for. So I have the VBox, or like what I mentioned, that's just so I can have everything vertically aligned with each other in the order I put them as children. Then we'll have the label, that's where I'm going to put the title of the game. Then I have two buttons. One of those buttons here would be for like actually playing the game. The other one's just going to be for exiting the game. I might add one more button at some point to show you how you can do like a quick options menu. But
for now, just stick with these ones. Play button. Exit button. All right. Text game. And one thing actually I'll go ahead and note that's very helpful is if you go up top here next to this anchor icon, you have like these presets for anchor positions. So I want to put this stuff right in the middle of the screen, so I'm just going to select center. And now all that stuff will stay centered to the screen no matter how your screen changes. And I don't like how small that is. I'm also going to change their size a little bit. So there are a few ways you can do that. I'm just going to brute force it real quick. I'm just going to go to scale, just double it. Then make sure you go back and do the anchor again. At least, oh, that's a little bit weird. Usually it's okay, I'll keep it at 1. That's being a little bit weird. I'll instead do it the other way. Go to my label, go to my layout, transform. Why are you not? Okay, well, there's also one smaller way. Go to here, font sizes. I'll change the font of my thing real quick, I believe. Yeah, 32. How about 64? There we go.
So I was trying to find a few different ways to change the sizes of things. Changing the size of the V box, I forgot, but it makes it so that anchor works a little bit weird. So probably don't want to do that. But the easier way you can do is just go to like whatever font size you have, for example, down there. So that's in your theme overrides over here. I guess it doesn't really show it well on this screen. Okay, I'll scroll on down. That should update in just a second. There you go. So you'll go to theme overrides, then the font sizes, and that lets you change your font size directly. But also showing another thing, what else you can do, since that's if you're just doing on an individual scale. So I just want this guy specifically to be 64 because it's the big old title. But nothing else probably will be, everything else will be smaller. And I'll show in a second how to do that. So I have my player button. I'm just going to do, shouldn't be called player button, well. I'll do play. And then, so before I did a theme override, this time I'm going to actually show you how to make a quick little theme. So new theme, I'm going to click on it like I've done for other stuff before. And I'll set a base font like size. So before that was 32, I'll do 24. 24 seems a bit small. So I'll do 30. All right, that seems okay. So this way we have like a set theme for all of our stuff. So that way we can apply this to everything else we do. In which case I'm going to go ahead and do save as. Then main theme. There we go. And I'll go ahead and do my exit button real quick. So exit. And instead of doing theme override, I can just go quick load. That'll show the only theme I've made so far. So that lets you go ahead and get those buttons set up real quick. If you ever add any more buttons in the future, you can just add that theme onto them, and you don't have to worry about messing around with fonts and stuff again. And I won't show it right now since like it'd be a little bit weird to track. You know what? Never mind. I can do it. Main menu. I'll just save it like that. So if I go in this right now, I do have the buttons. They like change color when you hover over them, but you'll notice the cursor icon does not change like a pointer whenever you go over them. But that's a quick little thing you can fix. So I'll go back over here. So there's this little mouse tab over here, not far above the theme. We go to that. Instead of arrow, all we do is just change that to pointing hand. And we'll do that for whatever else we want to have for that. So I'll do that for also the exit button. And if I reopen this back up, that should look better. So now we actually see the pointing hand whenever we go over the buttons. So you don't necessarily always need to do that, but I feel like for people who are playing games, that's just like an extra little thing that makes them just like it a little bit better. This feels a little bit more polished. All right. So all of that has at least gone the actual presentation if I've done real quick. Of course, there's no like background. The font's just kind of generic, but you could always do that stuff yourself. But the other thing we do need to do is actually give functionality to all this. So I am going to go ahead and make actually a single script for our main menu. You could always do like a script on each button,
but we don't necessarily need to do that. I'm just going to call it main menu. Script. There we go. And I'm going to go to each of my buttons. I'm going to go over to Node, Signals, and then Pressed. I'm going to connect those up to my main menu script. So that should give you two signal functions you can use. So I now know whenever the player button is being unselected and whenever the exit button is being selected. And I'm going to show you how you can switch scenes real quick. This is at least for Godot specifically, certainly. Change scene to file. And I want to open up level 1. So this code here is what you'll usually use to switch a scene in Godot. So it goes to get tree, that's I don't know how to explain like that. That's like nice tree overall on your nodes and stuff. And then it'll change like your new scene to whatever file is up there. So you could choose anything, but I'm just going straight to the level 1 over there. And then over here, I'm going to similarly do get tree. And I'm just going to do quit. So that's just simply from exiting the game. You can use that code anytime you just want to leave the game, and that should usually get it done pretty okay. So I'm going to open this up real quick. And if I do play, it puts us in the level. So that works fine. And I'll make sure it quits properly. That also works fine. And one quick last thing I'll do is I'll show you how you can like put an extra little menu in here. So I'm going to add another little button. I'm just going to put in between this. Actually, it's going to be your credits. So actually, I'll put it down there. Credits. I'm going to go over the theme. I'm going to quick load what we had. Similar to before, I'm going to put pointing hands. Then I'm going to do this. I'm not going to quite use that code just yet. So what I also want to do is I'm just going to put, I guess I'll put like another VBox in there. Label. That's a little frustrating. No, what happened to it? Where did it go? Yeah, hang on. Let me. Okay, hang on. It thinks it's doing it. Maybe it'll update in just a second. Come on, buddy. No. Why? Why does YouTube hate us? Or at least hate me in particular. Okay. Entire screen. There. Here. Okay. There we go. All right. I don't know why that happened. All right. All I had done is I just put in these two labels. I put like creators in one and then person 1, person 2 in the other. It doesn't really matter what you put in them. This is just to sort of demonstrate what you can do. So I'm going to call this credits container, just so I know what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to click on the eye there to toggle its visibility. And something you should know is that everything adjusts its position based on that visibility. So that's going to come in handy for the next thing I'm doing, where if credits container dot visible false equal true. All right, and what this should do, should make it so there we go. So that's like a toggleable way you could just add like something else you want to pop up in your menu. Like instead of like a credits thing, for example, you could do your options menu. So you can toggle the visibility of all the other things and put the visibility onto your options. That I found is actually a far easier way to do things and like switch it to a whole different scene for that.
it can be a little bit complicated to get going, but at least if you're adding like sort of complicated like background effects or like sound and the like, it's easier to do it that way than to try and carry it all over sometimes. So that's what I would recommend trying to do every now and then. So that should at least give you like the very, very basic ideas for how to do like some UI stuff, at least how to get your main menu in there for a game, how to show your stats for your player, and hopefully a little bit also you can use all the data between the different nodes. Does anyone have any questions?
How did you buy,
I'll go up this guy real quick. Do you see that eye looking thing over here?
okay,
Yeah, it should say toggle visibility when you hover over it. All right. So I'll go ahead and end that live stream.